In April of 2024, we reviewed defending GNCC Pro 4x4 champion Cody Collier's race-built Can-Am Renegade 1000. An impressive and very expensive machine. The Pro class and all other 4x4 classes in cross-country racing are dominated by the 1-liter Can-Am, primarily due to its 90 horsepower V-twin engine. Due to its dominance and lack of competition in a woods whip twin-cylinder configuration, even Pro-class champions receive little to no support from Can-Am. This got us thinking back then. Why doesn't the GNCC series offer single-cylinder 4x4 classes including a Pro class? With Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, and Can-Am offering 4x4 ATVs marketed as 700s, plus Polaris and CFMoto offering models in the 570 to 600cc range. There are 6 manufacturers offering models that could compete, creating interbrand competition and potential sponsorship for pro-level racers. Also, with most of these machines costing upwards of $6,000 less than a twin-cylinder 1000, the cost of buying and building a competitive race machine could be significantly less. We recently completed filming of ATV On Demand's 2026 700cc single-cylinder 4x4 ATV shootout, set for release later this winter. While the winner is yet to be determined, the class is certainly competitive. Yamaha's Grizzly 700 stood out due to its strong engine, good suspension, and ultra-lightweight, precise handling. So when Yamaha asked us and Dirt Wheels magazine if we were interested in racing a Grizzly built by BNR Motorsports at the Ironman GNCC, the final round of the 2025 season, we contacted test rider and cross-country racer Evan Hartzel, packed our bags, and headed to Crawfordsville, Indiana. We went hoping to learn 2 things. With Yamaha dropping multiple patents on a new twin-cylinder sport 4x4 that appears set to challenge the Renegade for twin-cylinder 4x4 supremacy in the woods, were they trying to get us hyped on what's to come? Or was Yamaha sharing our dream for single-cylinder classes where multiple brands could compete? And if such a class existed, how capable would the Grizzly be on a GNCC race course? Watch on and find out.
Hey everyone, Scott Nibby here with Yamaha, and we are in Crawfordsville, Indiana for the final round of the Grand National Cross Country Series. Cool thing is we've got a couple of Grizzlies here that we built out and brought in some media as well to show off just how versatile these vehicles are. And when we're out here at Ironman, there's so many things we have going on. In addition to the breast cancer awareness, we have beanie giveaways out at our truck. We have a lot of things we do to appreciate our Blue Crew racers on top of that too. And it's all about having fun, getting out there in the woods, and yeah, putting these vehicles to the test too. And I've had a lot of seat time on these. In fact, just last week I was hunting on one, oddly enough, and now I'm coming out here to race one. So really cool, and excited to get around these vehicles and see what they think. So I've had the opportunity to race these Grizzlies at a couple of the GNCC rounds, and it's just so much fun. That's why we wanted to bring the media out. So we have Dirt Wheels as well as ATV On Demand, just to see what these things can do and how much of a blast that they are while they're out there in the woods. We've been working with Racer Productions on trying to get a single-cylinder class for the 4x4 ATVs, just because not only is that great for us, Yamaha, but there's so many other manufacturers out there that have a single-cylinder 4x4 ATV that it's going to be competition for everyone. And who doesn't love more competition? So we built these things. We want to show what they can do, but even more so, we're showing to the GNCC series that, hey, there's a demand out there. People want to have this class, and they want to be able to bring their ATVs that they already own in the hundreds of thousands the past couple of years, and they want to be able to do the same thing as us.
Yamaha Motorsports reached out to us about building a couple Grizzlies for cross-country racing. We're here at the Ironman, and we're going to go over these couple units to see some of the modifications that we did to them to make them a little bit more XC ready. We'll go over the Grizzly here. Notice right off the bat probably that we removed the racks front and rear. That way obviously a little bit less weight, but also be nice to not have those on if you did have some type of contact or anything else. The plastic's a lot more forgiving than a metal rack. We have new bumper. We took the OEM one, we stripped it down, built a new bumper that kind of had an angle in it to help with departure, protect the radiator, and it also flows in real well with the skid plates that we have on here. Skid plates are aluminum. They have a plastic protection on the bottom too to help slide over things. So these wheels are Raccoon Racing wheels. They're like a billet aluminum, solid billet aluminum center plates, a billet aluminum ring, and then they're actually a automobile grade roll forged bell on the back side. 3-piece, made with O-ring seals, so they're pretty durable, don't have any issues, and then they're also serviceable, so if you needed to take them apart, you could take different pieces and you can buy them individually and put them together. We have a run flat tire system inside of it, so that way if they do get a flat, they can still continue on racing. Very durable wheels. Obviously went to a 12-inch wheel, that way that gets a little bit lower to the ground.
Scott Newby, the PR manager for Yamaha Motor Corporation, has been out and raced one of our Grizzlies already, 2 rounds of GNCC, equipped with the GBC Dirt Commander tires, and this weekend the 2 editor machines are equipped with the Dirt Devil. We opted for those Dirt Devils because they're a little bit lighter, they're going to give better throttle response, also a little more opportunity to slide in this very tacky Indiana dirt, and they also have a rich heritage in GNCC racing with multi-time 4x4 Pro champion Brian Buchanan having won many titles on the Dirt Devil tire. So we're going to see a shootout not only of the machines, but the tires themselves and who comes out on top.
So we got rid of the headlight that was usually here and the metal handlebars that kind of sweep up. We built a stem at BNR Motorsports. So it's a custom stem here, and then we used, they have Lone Star anti-vibe clamps and assemblies for fat bars, because this is a 1 1/8 inch bar instead of a 7/8 bar mount. Flex bars, so that way it has some comfy wrist support for the riders, so a little bit more forgiving than just a standard steel bar. All right, so we have power mat hand guards on here. They have a wraparound system to help protect your hands and the controls from any mud, debris, and also any trees that you might rub up against or anything else. So the controls, we still have the left brake, right brake, factory style here. We did go with a start switch to kind of remove the larger switch assembly here, and then we did add the pingle tether switch here, so that way you can be attached to the rider. That's required at most racing events, so that way if you do fall off, obviously you want the machine to stop and not injure anyone, so we have that there. So usually you'll race these in 4-wheel drive. These machines have a really nice button, so that way it's going to stay in, it's not going to bounce out or in. Some machines will tape them down or unplug them, but the Yamahas, the button stays in pretty well, so racing 4-wheel drive usually we'll just leave that clicked, and if they get stuck they can switch into the diff lock and pull themselves out of any mud or rocks or obstacle that they get stuck on real easy with the stock setup there. We did move since the dash, so the dash is usually up here in the headlight assembly. So it's kind of a large headlight assembly, plastic assembly, and especially with the sweep of the bars. So switching over here, we put the dash kind of in this little trunk area, front area, I guess, that you would call it, storage cabinet. So we can still use it, and it's still accessible to the user, but it's gonna be out of the way. All right, we're gonna come over to the rear of the machine and see some of the changes that we've done. Obviously, the biggest one you can probably see is the huge rack and assembly that comes here is removed. So that way you can scoot back a little bit, have more room for your butt instead of hitting it on the metal rack. Removing those metal racks do let the fenders flop a little bit more, so we had to make braces that went underneath to help support both sides of these fenders. A subtle tip that you can't really see is the seat. The seat, we have a latch, so I actually have a tether that's inside here that actually holds the seat in, so we can actually remove the clip it back in, so we won't lose that seat. To help protect from sport quads, if we had any rear impact here, we had built this bumper. BNR Motorsports custom built this bumper for it, so that way if we do get hit in the back, that's not going to destroy anything and lines up well with a sport quad bumper. And then you can see we have the full aluminum ricochet skid plates on this, on the back A-arms and the belly pan, finishing it off in the back here. All right, so BNR Motorsports is working on some other things that are on and not on these machines. So one of them is the ECU flash. So we are working on an ECU flash to gain a little bit more horsepower and mile per hour out of these units. We also are working on a shock package for these to maybe get them a little bit lower. So there are some other things in the works here for these units too. So my overall thoughts on these machines for a single cylinder machine is they're a great dual purpose machine. You can take them out for the weekend, have some fun, and then you can put them back to work during the week. Also, these are a fairly light machine compared to some other units. Fits the body pretty well. Really nice comfy seat. Obviously a lot of fender protection for mud and rider protection from the mud and water and things like that. So, and they're a well-built machine by Yamaha. So, I mean, you see these Grizzlies that are out there and they don't have many issues for years and years.
What's up? I'm Evan Hartzel. We're here at the Ironman GNCC. We were invited out here by Yamaha. They built 2 Yamaha Grizzlies. The ATV on Demand and Dirt Wheels got the chance to come out and test them, so ATV on Demand was gracious enough to let me ride one. We just looked at them. They look awesome, very tastefully done, so it should be a lot of fun.
Saturday morning race day. Enthusiasts kept stopping by as they had all weekend to see what Yamaha was up to with the Grizzlies. Around 9 a.m., it was time for some last-minute race prep and to get some final thoughts from Yamaha's factory racers for the weekend.
All right, so we're getting ready for the morning here. I'll be racing the 4x4 senior class along with Jeff Henson at Dirt Wheels, and yeah, we got Evan. I think he's still trying to figure out what class he's going to be racing in, but we're about 30 minutes out from race start time and just doing the last minute prep and everything. Getting the Terros ready, and PSI is good on the Grizzlies. We fueled them all up and ready to rock and roll. It should be a fun race here. Definitely excited.
Hey guys, it's Jeff with Dirt Wheels and Quadcast and ATV on Demand. We are out here at Ironman Raceway for the final round of the GNCC season here in 2025. I'm going to be racing my first GNCC race ever. Usually I'm out on the West Coast racing Works or some of those series here. This has been a bucket list item for me, especially at Ironman Raceway, the last round of the year. There is a huge crowd. It's like, when you come in here, it's like driving into a NASCAR race with the amount of toy haulers and RVs and everything else. Anyway, right here behind me, we're going to be racing some Yamaha Grizzlies that have been fixed up by BNR. They're bulletproof with plenty of protection to protect us from the rocks, the roots, the trees, hopefully, and hopefully we're going to do really good today. I'm going to be out here racing in the same class with Scott Newby of Yamaha and some of the other old guys. We're at the 40-plus senior 4x4 class. Really looking forward to this machine. Yeah, you might be a little underpowered with 700 cc's, but this machine also weighs a lot less than those bigger Can-Ams and Polaris models, if there's even a Polaris out here. Definitely the Renegades. Really looking forward to throwing this thing around in the woods today. Gonna have a great time, and we will see you at the starting line.
Morning of the race here at Ironman. We just signed up for 4x4C. The other 2 riders are going to run 4x4 senior, but I'm not old enough for that, so we're going to run the C class. We don't want to interfere with anybody's points, so if we do good, get on the podium or something, we'll just self-disqualify ourselves. So looking forward to it. Should be a fun morning.
With race time fast approaching, it was time to suit up, head through tech inspection, and line up for the start. Next, the starting line in a massive sea of around 500 ATV competitors. Evan would start around 3 rows from the back of the field, competing in a sea of vintage, modern single-cylinder and mostly Renegade 1000s. Yamaha's Scott Newby and Jeff Henson from Dirt Wheels magazine would be starting several rows ahead. The 40-plus class was a sea of 1,000 twins, mostly a sea of Renegade 1000s, although it appeared someone was racing a narrowed-up version of a Polaris Scrambler S. Scott Newby was hot on his heels in turn 2. An experienced racer in his first dead-engine start race, Jeff Henson struggled getting the Grizzly fired off the line, but caught the pack heading into the woods. In spite of incredible reaction time, down by 42 horsepower, many of the 1000s were pulling Evan down the first straight. Fortunately, its strong brakes and light, stable, precise handling allowed Evan to hold on for a respectable mid-place start. Immediately in the woods, Evan went to work searching for alternate lines to put the pass on the big bores. You see almost everything racing at a GNCC, and early on in the race, Evan found himself behind an old Polaris Scrambler 400, a cool old vintage straight axle 2-stroke 4x4 that would have a place in a 4x4 single-cylinder class. Now, one would expect that when the trail opens up, our 700 single would get murdered by the twin-cylinder 1000s we were racing against. But the Grizzly's lightweight and strong brakes allowed Evan to brake later entering corners. Lightweight and good stability let you carry more speed through corners, with its mellow but adequate engine letting you get on the gas sooner. This let Evan keep the competition in striking distance heading into the woods, picking riders off when the opportunity presented itself. We were initially apprehensive about racing with stock shocks. The shocks were plush off the top with decent bottoming resistance, good suspension, and light agile handling. Let the Grizzly change direction more like a sport quad than you might expect. When pushed too hard, you could find the bottom of the suspension travel, and Evan got the Grizzly swapping a couple of times. He was able to save it and pass a guy who wasn't in his class, thanks to the Grizzly's excellent mass centralization and good power steering, which greatly add control. We can't wait to try these machines again next year when BNR Motorsports adds some Fox suspension. And besides bringing out some wild machines, the GNCCs bring out a wild crowd with characters like this guy. While our machine's mods were minimal, they did make a difference. The lightweight 25-inch GBC Dirt Devil tires and lightweight Raccoon Racing wheels had Evan accelerating a bit more quickly out of corners. The taller BNR Motorsports stem and straighter Fast Company Flex handlebars did well at putting Evan in the attack position, improving control. With firmer red elastomers installed, the Flex handlebars did well at times that we overrode the capability of the stock suspension. The Raccoon Racing foot pegs improved grip and allowed room for the rider's feet to pivot on the Grizzly 700's floorboards. Their kick-ups help keep your feet from sliding off, especially on off-cambers. As the race wore on, Evan continued to pick off riders. Ultralight feeling and controllable for a four-wheel drive with smooth adequate power and a comfortable ride made the Grizzly an ATV that Evan could charge on later in the race. Less horsepower and weight can make the Grizzly 700 more fun to race in its own way, which is why an entire field of big bore single-cylinder machines could make for such an exciting good time. Heading into the final lap, Evan had more than cut his class in half, working his way past a number of twin-cylinder 1000s, including that Scrambler S we pointed out from the 40-plus class that started several rows ahead. By the time Evan came through on the final lap, he was still wide open, swapping to the whoops. By now, he'd worked his way past the majority of the competitors in his class on far bigger, more powerful, more expensive machines.
What's up? We just got done racing the Grizzly 700. You know, it was actually a really fun race. We started out probably mid-pack on the start. This bike actually starts in gear, so that helped us out a lot. Went into the woods and just kind of followed around some guys and started to make some passes. The first lap we came through in 26th. The second lap I think we were in 10th or so. Third lap we were in 7th, and the last lap we got to 5th place. So it was really fun. I mean, this quad rips. I enjoyed it. It didn't beat me to death. It was just a really enjoyable ride, so I had fun. So a lot of my competition out there on the track were Can-Am 1000s. And I think we were able to get around them because this bike's just so light and nimble. It goes where you want it to. It moves easy. It's just a cool bike, and it doesn't feel like a big, heavy 1000cc 4x4. In the field sections, we got gapped, but you know, you can make that back up in the woods. You can go a little quicker in the woods with these, I think, because they're lighter. But yeah, we put the heat on some 1000s. If you're a guy like me and you got some property, you probably got a single cylinder 4x4 sitting in your barn, and maybe you want to get into the GNCC world or even the XC world. These quads are great, and I really think the GNCC could benefit from a single cylinder 4x4 class. I think they'd have a lot of outcome. I just think it'd be a really fun class, and we proved today that you can go fast on these quads.
All right, so we wrapped things up for Ironman here and had a complete blast on the Grizzly. It was so much fun. The track was awesome, a little over 12 miles and nice, fast and flowy, and even a couple of like technical uphill sections, but Grizzlies performed great. Even talking to Evan after was cool because he was really surprised at even stock suspension, how well it had performed. And ideally next year when we come into this, we'll have some aftermarket suspension put on there too, just to really kind of level things up and be a game changer while we're out there. But otherwise, had so much fun. Really was a blast out there, passing guys, going back and forth. Evan got me right there at the end, man. Tried to keep up and keep behind me, but he definitely had a good pace going, and all the more grace to him. But otherwise, yeah, we wrapped things up. Another great Ironman. Looking forward to another good season. So you guys check out the Grizzly lineup, YamahaMotorsports.com, and looking forward to do a lot more of this in the future.